back, and today we're going to be going over how to build a program counter. I'm going to be starting to upload more, hopefully, now that I have internet at home. And so the plan will be to actually build some cool stuff. I don't want to give away anything too soon, but yeah, let's get started with just building a program counter for now. So we're going to build two different types for the first series of tutorials coming out. The first one here is going to be a non-relative one, and then we're going to build one that's going to be able to do relative jumping and stuff as well. And if you're not sure what that means, you will by the end of the next tutorial, I guess. But anyway, to start up this one, we're going to place a few blocks like this, two repeaters going in, so one going into a block and the other going into a repeater. You'll notice this is a D flip-flop, but this is the timing input into the D flip-flop. So let's get some redstone, and we're going to need a slab. So we're actually, for stacking purposes, going to place a slab here like that. And then we're going to do, whoops, like that. And then like that. So that's the first thing that we want. The second thing that we're going to need to do is actually connect this to a monostable. Oops. So when we put a line here and we put a button here, it creates a pulse. And then now you'll notice that this is powering out. But if we clock it again, it's off. So it's a T flip-flop. So we're going to chain a bunch of T flip-flops together. But we want to do it so that the output of each one will synchronously update on the next clock. We don't want it to update on its own or anything like that. But every time we get a clock, we want it to be synchronous. We don't want to ripple. And so to do this, instead of doing that, we're going to place a block like that. We're going to place a torch there. We're going to come up like that. So we basically have our design down. But now what happens if, for say, we want to take a branch input? So to do that, we'll do this. Come out. And we need a way to disable this torch here. But if you notice, this repeater is going to power into here. So we need to have a repeater here. But if we have a repeater here, it's going to power into that block until we have an output. So we don't want that. So we actually have to put the repeater there. And like that. Actually, I think there's an even better way to do this. We don't even need these. We can add those later if we do need them. We'll just go ahead and stick with just having this. And then we'll go... do that. Oh, I guess I went up one on that one. There, we'll do this. And so now this will allow us to stack. So if I just pick this block here, and let me do that again. Yeah, we went underneath there. So go over right here. Hopefully this works. And we'll give it a stack. Nope. Oops. There. A few stack errors, but alright, that worked once, so let's stack it. We'll make a 4-bit one, so we need 3 copies of it. So there. And then we need to fix a few world edit mistakes. We don't need that one. And then we need our blocks here. and that makes sure that it actually powers into it. And so now go ahead and place some levers there, and we'll place. That's going to say enable branch input, and then we need to do some fancy trickery here with the clock. And basically, all that involves is tying. Oh, whoops. With a long pulse. So now, that works as a reset and as a branch. So let's see what happens. Where you have nothing coming out right now, we'll give it a few clocks. So we have a 1 coming out, a 2, a 3, 4, 5. What happens if we want to branch to line 10? Actually, I'm going to disable this. I'll do it manually like this. So we enable the branch to line 10, so that it enables the input data to come into the T flip-flops. Then we turn this on. Oh, well that enables the data to come into the T flip-flops. And then we pulse it for really long. Oh, so that didn't work. So actually what we do have to do is add in those lines here. So we'll be right back. Okay, so what we're going to do to fix this is basically move these blocks over. Whoops. There. Now let's do this one, and we'll stack 3. There we go, perfect. And then we'll have a branch input here. That'll be enable branch input. And then right here, we will do this. Do stack 3, and there. So now we just have to fill in these gaps here, and we will have a fully functioning program counter that can do branching. And then I'll show you guys what can actually be done with a program counter, even though it's kind of buggy. Oh, whoops. These have to go here. Okay, so that's why we had to put these repeaters here, so that didn't go up the repeater chain, power in and disable anything else. Anyway, so we're at 6, we can increment to 7. We want to branch to 10, so to do a branch, we enable the branch input. We come over here, and I guess I could just do it from here. We power into this line here, and then we give it the long tick disable there. And that brings you to line 10. What this line does here is it only triggers the torch, it doesn't trigger the repeater, so it doesn't act as a monostable. It acts as something that's giving a long pulse into here to reset it to line 10. It gives it enough time to do that. I don't believe it will work on a short pulse, but we can try it. Let's try to jump to 15 on a short pulse. Oh, well, it did it. So actually, yeah, you might be able to just use a short pulse. But anyway, I would recommend just playing around with it. This is a good design. You might be able to make it smaller or whatever, but it's just a bunch of T flip-flops chained together. So now let's go check out something that might work well using these types of program counters. Okay guys, so this is something I built using a bunch of those program counters I showed you how to make earlier, and it's actually a line drawer, and it plots lines in the form of y equals m1 over m2x plus b, and so I'm just trying to get this thing to work for now, but hopefully this will work. It's going to do a slope of 1, which is just m1 over 1, m1 over m2 is 1 over 1 right now. So we're just going to get x plus b, and right now b is 0, so we're going to get a line of y equals x, which is just going to go up like that. And so I have the clock running, but it's not enabled to output yet. And let's hope that this works. So, oh, it started plotting the line. Up one early, but let's see if it starts making a proper line. There we go. So it's plotting a line. I could probably speed it up, actually. So there it is, plotting a line. Relatively easy one. Although it should have started down here at 0. Not really quite sure why it did that. Maybe something wasn't reset properly. But anyway, I'll try to get it to do more ridiculous things, but I'll put out a video on it in a little bit later. So basically how this works is it has a program counter for the Y register, which comes in here, and then it has a program counter for the X register that comes in here. And the X register only gets a clock, which is this thing. It tells it when to add 1 to it. And then this is a manual reset here. And the reset also triggers the button over there. I gotta say welcome to this guy. Anyway, so I'm also going to get this thing to do negative slopes, and how I managed to think that through is on the Y we'll have an inverter here, and we'll have an inverter here. So when somebody uses the toggle invert function, we'll flip both of these inverts so that the counter starts counting in reverse, and then updates it back to inverse here, so that we actually get a negative slope. And that may sound complicated, but in paper it works out. But anyway, here it is drawing a line, and then I don't know why, but it got a little buggy when it got to the top. But it still managed to maintain that slope. So this is one of the things that you can do with those program counters if you're trying to make an application-specific circuit. And just so you guys know, I will be trying to implement some sort of Bressenham's line drawing algorithm thing soon. I'm not sure how well it's going to work, or if it'll even work when I'm done, but I think it'll be fun to try. So hopefully you guys like this video and all the different things you can do with program counters. I'll see you guys in a little bit.